Hey everybody. So this is a recording about how to complete the 2022 recruitment impact analysis. This will help you complete your worksheets in the recruitment. This is part of that. So we're going to spend a little bit of time showing you where it is and how to use it. So the first part is, where can you find it? You can get there a couple different ways. It's on the agency work site, which is this link right here. Or you can come down to the scroll and click next or wait for it to pop up and find the 2020-2023 planning page. This is your one-stop shop for all of your planning needs. We keep it updated, and really this is probably the best place to find the current information as well as documents that you are working on. So what you can see is right here, there's a section called Planning Documents. Sometimes if we're updating this, there'll be 3 columns or 2 columns, but look for the header Planning Documents, and you're going to look for 2022 Matrix, Worksheets, and Data. So go ahead and click that, and the folder will come up. And you can see that I have the 2022, I don't know why it's so hard to say, impact analysis right here. This is a template, so fingers crossed, when you open it, it should not impact the underlying document. There are a lot of codes and formulas in this document. So if you do think that you have messed something up, the best thing to do is just to reach out to me. I have this saved on another site, so I can come in and replace it if necessary. But this should open up as a template. So we're going to go ahead and click that and open it up. You see that it's going to download. Sometimes you might get a dialog box that says no preview, need to download, something like that. I had already clicked on it once, so I think that maybe my computer just knows I want to download it. So it came down here in my download. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up right now. And it's going to open. Just give that a second. It opened up on a different screen. So let me go ahead and pull that up here for you to look at. So you can see that we have an updated impact analysis. Basically, the colors are different. The numbers are different because we have updated data from the Census Bureau. And we added that column in about your impact number. That was something you all asked for, so you didn't have to do math. It's all going to be right here. Now, a couple notes about this document. There are places that you will type, and there are places you shouldn't type because there's formulas. So I tried my best to highlight the boxes. So anywhere you see a box that's outlined is somewhere you're going to have to do input. The only one that's a little bit tricky because of the way the formatting went is this box right here is actually not outlined. There is a code that's going to add up this row here for you in each one of these to get you the minorities combined number. So you don't need to type anything there. So basically, you're going to use, is the category used? You're going to look at these individual boxes for your different ethnicities and races. You're going to do the unknown, the white only, the women and men. Okay, so minorities combined is going to calculate by itself. All of this is going to calculate by itself, as well as these lines here. In this one, they're red colors. These are just checks. So if you put the numbers in correctly, these should get up to 100%. So that's just kind of a little math check for you to make sure. Now, because of rounding, sometimes it's 99, that's okay. Sometimes it's 101, that's okay. Because the underlying data sometimes in your workforce comp reports, it rounds, and it might round. Like if you went one place out, one more out, it would round up. So don't worry about it if it comes up to 99 or 101. Most times it's going to hit 100, but sometimes it does that. So don't freak out. It's going to be okay, just as long as you're close to 100. That's just a math check for you, okay? So you will also see that there are our 9 regions. If you need the map for the regions, I don't have that up right now. You can find a copy of that map on your planning pages, but it will tell you the counties that are associated with these. This is the largest city in each one of the regions. It's actually the public safety map, so if you're familiar with that as well. That's the map we borrowed to go ahead and use the regions. So the way the data works is from the Census Bureau, we use the American Community Survey or something like that, where we took each of the information from each of the counties and then put it together in our regions. So these calculations are really ours, like for the state of Ohio. You can't really go out and find this. This is all data that we have put together in particular for us. Now, some of you, especially if you're using other regions, like if you know you recruit from Kentucky, or if you're up in Northern Ohio and you have some offices up in Toledo and you want to pull some information from Michigan, we can actually kind of redo the formulas for you if that's something of need. If you think, gosh, we do really get a lot from Kentucky or Detroit or places like that, that might help you do some of this analysis. We also can, if you're interested, do a test in especially Region 6, where we can actually segment this data one more level down. We can do like white women, Black women, Asian men. We can go one more level down. We don't have that made. It'd be something we would have to work on. But if you are interested, this data is all here in this notebook here. You just can't see it. I've hidden a lot of tabs. And so it's all here, and we could actually come in for you individually and kind of add some things if you find that useful. Most of you, honestly, are only going to use Region 6, and you probably are not going to need anything that I just said, okay? So for most of you, it's just going to be this region. You're going to go to this lighter mid-color blue tab, Region 6, and this is the only one you're going to fill out, okay? So don't worry about the others. If you don't need them, just skip it. If it bugs you and you really don't want to see it, you can hide it, and you can do that by clicking your right button and go ahead and hit hide. And if you hide it, don't worry, you can get it back. You just hit unhide and you can pick the ones you want to see again. But some of you, I know you just want to see the thing that you are working on, and so you can go ahead and hide the ones that you don't use. So this is the document. Basically, again, it's a lot. If you did this before, it's very similar. It works the same way. We just have added some new features and updated the colors, and of course, updated the data, which was the most important part. Okay, so let's talk about how the heck do we fill this out? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get us ready to go to Region 6, because that's the one that we use most often. And I am going to, what we use to fill this in is your workforce analysis, workforce composition report. Each of you have it in your agency folder. So I'm going to actually use DODD because I want to show you something in particular. I hope theirs works. I should have looked before. If not, I'll have to do a second video to show you how to combine the admin and paraprofessionals together. All right, so we're going to go to the agency plan pages. Each of you in your folder, you have a workforce composition report that is going to be probably very similarly named to this, with your agency initials, workforce report with the date 12/21/01. Remember that we used December before for our workforce planning. This report was also used to generate the data for the annual report. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up. We are using DODD's data here. They are multi-region, so that's why I picked them as well, because I know that they have people in every region. So this opened up in the cloud. And sometimes the cloud is terrible to view, to be quite honest. I don't like to edit, especially Excel documents in the cloud. So I'm going to go ahead and click this edit button. and go open in desktop app. There's another way to do this as well. If you want to do it from the main menu, you can say open directly this way, but most times I honestly forget and I just do it this way. So it's going to go ahead and take a second, and it's going to come into my desktop app, which has more features actually, and you are just more used to using it, and it's easier to use sometimes. So sometimes it takes a second, especially this document, I will tell you, because it is big. This one has a ton of formulas in it. And so I ran them all for you, so you don't have to worry about it. Don't click any of those buttons. Your data is here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit enable content though, because we want to do that. And then sometimes it requires a refresh of the data, because I don't know why. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know why it does, but when I have opened them back up and when I've come in to do some of these, I've noticed it. So if you run into that where it says need to refresh, just hit the data up here and find this right here. It says refresh, just hit that, and then it's going to just run all the data again. It's already preset. It just needs a little update sometimes. I honestly have no clue why. So let's just remind you what this document is. So we'll go all the way to the front. Okay, so if you were doing this by yourself, which you didn't, I did it for you. So good news. This is your raw data that comes straight out of Oaks, okay? So we can run this report as raw data, but you got to put it in here because this little spreadsheet gives the ability to deduplicate the if you have two more races. It also does some conversion with some of the categories, so we have less unknowns, which is the goal. So so this is the data. Then it does these weird things where it has to like do calculations. So don't worry about those two sheets. Just don't touch them. Just leave them as they are. And then we have the calculated data, which we are going to use this sheet when we have to kind of combine our professionals and our paraprofessionals and our admin support. Sorry. If you are coming in and wanting to know more about your counts, your percentages, this is where all of you can find this here. You can find how many, how many males we have in our paraprofessionals, what's the percent, all that stuff is here. Now, this can get kind of complicated. This one is really long to look at. So what I did was kind of created a pivot table that kind of puts it all closer together. And that's what we're actually going to use to fill out the sheet for you. It's just easier to look at, okay? But it should all be the same. It's the same data. This is salary. We aren't doing a ton with this. You do have a question in your worksheets about salary and retention. So this is where you can come to kind of take a peek at your numbers, see you can look at the statewide, which is in your worksheet, and figure out if you have anything that's like way out of whack. But we're not doing that today. If you have questions, that's something that we can work on. This is information about your disability. So you do these down clicks. You want to see disability, take out the blanks, things like that. Again, we aren't really doing anything with this for this exercise today, but that's what this is. This is a tab that I created for you all. It's something that I needed when I was doing your annual reports to figure out your number of individuals who reported disability as well as military. And so you can see there's drop downs here. Again, don't need that for this, but just wanted to show you what it is. Okay, so this is where we're going to spend most of our time and really starting to pull our data over. So this is I created this. It's just a pivot table from the underlying data, but see, it's so much easier, right? It already puts it in. And so you'll see that this mirrors what we're doing with group 1, group 2, and group 3. This is going to get squishy for a second, but let me move this down over here so you can see group 1, group 2, and group 3, okay? So they mirror, but we're kind of looking at different analysis. So group 1, we're looking at when individuals report their ethnicity, if it's solo, like without white, okay? So it's just the different ethnic groups. Then in this section, it's really like majority, looking at, comparing it to minority. And so this is where we get our minorities combined, which is all of this, unknowns, and then our white number. Remember, we can't affirmatively action plan for white or men. And actually two or more either because of the way that is, but we need that number. And so this is really, if you find that you have a deficiency in either of those that you do really want to work on, that's just diversity planning. So you can do it, just not here in the course of affirmative action planning. It would just go in a different part of your matrix. Okay, so again, 1, 2, 3. All right, so what I'm going to do is see if I should have practiced this part. I'm going to try to make this a little smaller and snap it over here so I can hopefully see that as well as this. I have 3 screens, so normally I put them all on different screens, but this doesn't record 3 screens. So, all right. Let's just go with, we'll start with the admin category. So let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna say, okay, we're gonna start in region 1. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm in group 3 right now. So I wanna go over here to group 1. Sorry, I made them kind of out of order, I know. All right, so I'm in group 1 now, and I'm gonna hit this button because I only want to see what's in region 6 because that's Columbus. That's the one I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the button that says select all. You could go 1, 2, you could unselect all of them, or you just hit that and pick the one that you want. So now I'm going to only look at region 6. Okay. So let me go back again and show you what I did. So this arrow here, row label, I'm going to hit the button, hit I'm going to unselect all, and then pick the one I want to see. Now, for those of you that have multi-regions, you have them all that show up. If you only have Columbus or the region 6, you don't need this step because it's only going to show region 6. But if you have more than one, this is the easier way to do it, just so you don't get confused and it's just less to look at on the screen. Okay, I'm going to hit OK. All right, so now I only have my region 6 data up here. Now, for the most part, this is really just typing in the numbers. So let's first make sure these are all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what I know is I'm using all of the categories. So the first thing I'm going to do is come over here and I'm going to say, yes, I use this category. And so it's going to take yes and turn that green. So I know I need to fill in that data. Now this DODD in Columbus does use all of them, so they're going to be yes. But let's pretend they don't use one. They don't use technician. So when you hit no, it turns it black. And that just lets us know that obviously you don't use it, and we don't need to put a bunch of zeros in because what that does is start to do the formulas. So we hit no, it turns it black, and you don't even have to worry about that category, okay? They use it, so we're going to make it yes. They use all of these categories, so we're going to make it yes, yes. Now this category, the way that the census does it, they put them together. And I didn't realize that or remember that when I was making these tables. So unfortunately, I tried to get the math out, but you're going to have a little math. If you have admin, support, and paraprofessional, and you use them both. Now, if you only use one, you can just type in the one that you use. But see here, DODD uses both, and I got data in both. Some of you, one might not appear, and so then you can just go ahead and whatever one you use, you can just fill it out like the rest. So I'm going to show you what happens or how to figure this out when you have two. You don't really have to do math. You just have to go to a different spot in the spreadsheet, and I'm going to show you some quick formulas that you can put at the bottom of this to just do the math for you. All right. All right, so let me finish this. So yes, 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 they use all of them. All right, so now we know in this region, we have to work on all of the boxes. So let's go back to the first box, and we're just literally going to fill it in. So officials and admin, white is, go to the white alone, 68.97, okay? And we're just going to keep doing that. And you can see the total here, it's starting to do some math for us. So when this hits 100, we know that we've entered these correctly. So we know this is 100 because it tells us. So if you all of a sudden think you have these right, and this is 100, then you know something's off, right? So you mistyped something. All right, so black is 27.59. Asian is 3.45. Blank is unknown, okay? So they don't have any unknowns, so we can go ahead and hit 0. And then they don't have any of the other categories. So 0, they don't have. And so if you don't, so this one, American Indian, they don't have. Hispanic in this column, they don't have. Now it doesn't appear at all, the Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, because they don't have any at all in region 6. So in any of the categories. So it's not here. So it's 0 for all of them. So that's even a quick one. I can just go ahead and go 0, 0, 0, 0, and 0. Okay. Oh, one more 0. Because they don't use it at all. So that's an easy one to fill in for all of them. And then 2 or more, actually that goes same with 2 or more, it does not appear. So we can do the same thing with 2 or more, 0, 0, 0, 0, and whoops, not that box. Now, one thing about this I should mention, unlike last time, this is not protected. So if you accidentally delete a number, first of all, the formulas for these numbers are not included in this chart. There's another thing that's hidden that if you do mess this up, we can go get the number, or we can just go to someone else's. These are just typed in on purpose. I didn't want you to damage the underlying codes. These over here do have codes. So if you accidentally mess up and you delete the code out, so oops, I deleted that. Crap, I don't know what Jen wrote. See, it's gone up there. There's nothing there. So that there's a formula there that's telling it to do something, and I don't know Excel. I don't know how to make that formula. All you have to do is go to a blank box, go ahead and hit Control C, go to the box that was missing, hit Control V, and it automatically will change the number back to the right row and column. It's just something Excel does. So you can fix it yourself if you can figure that out, or you can just simply send me an email and I can help you, okay? So it should be all right, but just remember, accidents happen, but this is all fixable. These codes are, again, I have them in a separately saved document, and they're in hidden documents, hidden tabs in this document yourself. Okay, so just a little side note there. Also, see how that box is blinking, or whatever what you call this. If you don't want that, it thinks that I'm trying to do something with this box, and sometimes this is where you get messed up too, because it's doing that, and then you start clicking around, and all of a sudden it starts putting different boxes up here. So if you see that and you don't want to do anything, if you hit escape, it stops. Okay, and then that way you're not adding extra cells to that box or whatever it wants to do. Okay. All right, so let's go back out over here and finish this one up so you can see. So here, this was one of those examples. This one actually did it. See how it did 100.01? You know what? That's totally fine. It's just some rounding thing. We are super close to 100, and the numbers match, right? So we know that this is totally okay. All right, so let's go over here now to row 3, and this is men and women. So again, I'm going to hit this because I only want to see region 6. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to find official admin. And we have women 55.17 and men 44.83, 100, right? Okay, so do you see what happened as I was putting the numbers in? So here's your codes, and this is a new thing that we added in for you. So if this number here that you typed is smaller than the available number in the region, it automatically will say yes. Then we have it do math to find the difference. So in this case, the difference is 0.10, all right? This becomes important because once you have the whole thing filled out, you're going to look for the biggest numbers because that's really where you have the most impact. And remember, in your worksheets, this is just one part of the analysis, because you could have a really giant number, But to be honest, that recruitment doesn't even make sense. Like, you're not hiring an officials admins. That makes no sense to spend any resources or time on. So then you might decide, okay, I'm going to go with the second biggest number. And, and then I see that there's a trend here across a few regions. And this is how I'm going to come up with my thing I'm going to work on for affirmative action planning. Okay. So it's a much bigger kind of analysis here. So these calculate by themselves. This is a new addition. I should have mentioned this as I was talking about it in general. I added in the number of people in the region. I just found that interesting because some of them are really, again, small. Columbus is not a good example because the numbers are all relatively big, but if you look at a different region, you'll see. But some of the numbers, like, it might not even make sense. Some of them, like if we go to like a Mansfield, you'll see that that's a bad example too. Where's my like really small ones here? Not Cleveland. Okay, like Dayton. So some of the numbers are a lot smaller. So you're going like 10,000 in this population. I mean, these are things that you might want to think about, even if you have an impact, if it's really small, I mean, maybe it's better to work on something where you have more people, because even if the percentage is small, the actual numbers aren't as big, right? So 50% of 100 is different than 50% of 1,000, right? And so again, this is part of the analysis. So really thinking about it once you're putting those numbers in and figuring out, I forgot where I was going back to 6. Okay. All right. So what you'll do then is you will continue filling this out for the rest of the boxes. I'll do one more just so you can see. And then I'm going to show you what happens for those of you that need to combine the paraprofessional and the admin support. So let's just do one more. We'll do the professional, sorry. And I already have the men and women up. So I'm going to come just down here and start with 3. It doesn't matter what order you do it in, whatever you want. Actually, I tend to do all of them at once. So I'll just go across the row. I don't do the columns normally, but this way I'm showing you. So we have the first box is female. So we have 67.38. And then we have men, we have 32.62. So here's a great example of, there is actually a disparity in men. See that? So this could be one in your just diversity planning. If you wanted to look at this, you totally could. It's just not affirmative action, right? So this is good information to know. It just might mean that you are going to look at it in a different way. Okay. And you'll find this a lot in like the admin support categories. And some of the other ones where they're more female dominated professions. And we do want that balance of diversity. So that's really important, right? I'm going to come back over here to the race one now, and we're going to go ahead and fill in for the top. I made this so big, I don't remember what so the top one was American Indians. So they have 0. The next one is Asian. So we go to the Asian. So we have 3.9. Whoops, 3.9. Next one is African American, so Black, so 19.5. See, it's just in, and then it starts to do the math for you. I should mention, I keep remembering, the minorities combined will only appear when you have a number in the African American one. In general, this will be the minority one that you will fill in, so that's why I triggered it on here. So if you're like, where's my number? It's because you don't have something in this box. So if you don't have any African Americans in a category, just make sure that says 0. They all should say 0 if you have 0, so that it does the calculations over here for you. But that's why this one appears. That's why it appeared right then, not the others. All right, and then Hispanic 1.06. And then our unknown, which is blank, remember it's blank, 0.35. And then our white is 75.18. All right, so again, 99.99, totally fine. We're like in further out, there's a rounding, just like that one was off. This is a really good example. I didn't know it was going to do this. So it's totally fine. But if it's like 98, or you might have just hit one of these off. This is indicating it's a rounding thing, okay? When it's like that 0.01 off. So we're good. We're good to go. So again, when we look at this, it's telling us that we have these opportunities. And, clearly there's like 0.12 is very small, 0.05 is way smaller. So these might not make a lot of sense to, to plan around. Okay. So we'll start to look across the worksheet when it's all done and kind of figure out, where is those impacts. Let me see if I can pull up one. I was working on mental health because I was using them as a test. Let me show you. I actually completed theirs for them because I was trying to test all of the tabs to make sure they were working for you. But so see what happens when you do the whole thing. And this is what I'm going to show you in a second here. You start to see trends and patterns. So for them, I highlighted, this is me highlighting, this was just me kind of trying to highlight and show them where the biggest impacts were. I would say if there's anything that's 10 or above, definitely highlight. This is a great example. I mean, this one, they had no women. And so that's a really big one. But here's the thing, then you got to put your logic hat on. Maybe they only have 2 positions. So even though that looks like a giant percentage, and I'm going to highlight it just because of what this is saying, logically, we might not do anything with that because it's only 2 positions, okay? And so maybe it's better even to like come down and look at some of these where they know they have like more positions available. And it could even be something I didn't highlight. They probably have a lot of professionals. And so maybe it's, even though we didn't highlight like this one that's 1.93, maybe that's the one they actually go with because they're going to do more hiring in the professional group. All right. So again, this is just straight data. You have to put in context the other pieces. But I did this for them, and here's one where they didn't use all the categories, so it turns no, turns them blank. And in this one, you can even see this region, the highest was 6.64. So in truth, Dayton might not even be a region that they're even going to consider unless it's some sort of a statewide strategy, which, by the way, we're really trying to have you not do. So here's their Columbus one. Again, their numbers weren't so bad. I was highlighting anything that was over 10, and most of them actually were pretty decent. There's some 4s in here, but they had these in the female women category were pretty big. But so again, this is something I was highlighting the bigger numbers, and I went with anything over 10. You can decide what you want to highlight. That was just something extra to just catch your eye. And then what happens once and especially if you're multi-region, if you're only Columbus, then you can just kind of look and see where patterns are. But you can kind of see like patterns. If you see for them, where's that yellow keep appearing? Look at that. We got women, a lot of women. It keeps appearing in that row if you look. So doing that also can kind of help you kind of spot some trends, which should then appear in your worksheet. You can write that down in your worksheet. Okay. So this is what a big, like if it's all finished, it would look like, or just region 6, if you just, most of you will only have this tab. It will fill in. And then that's what you should do. Kind of go back in and look and find your biggest numbers. And if you have anything that's a 10-point difference, like 10, the number 10, that is a big impact area. And so you definitely want to highlight that. Like here, this one, 8, compared to what they have here, I might highlight them for that. They do use all these categories. So I was, anything over, but then between 5 and 10 might be something to highlight. Like actually I picked it. Here's a 6 right here. But again, this might not make sense. It just depends on then hiring and all that. So that's where the analysis part comes in. Okay, so I'm going to put theirs away. If you ever wanted to take a peek at it, don't touch their data, but you have access to each other's stuff. So if you ever wanted to go in and look at it, it's in their folder. This one is mental health, and I'm working on DODDs. All right, so I got DODDs back up. And so that's what they would do, is keep on going along. But what I want to show you right now is how to figure this part out, because Jen forgot, and when I made the charts, I didn't have them combined by themselves. And so I'm just going to show you how to do a little bit of calculation in Excel right here. So here's a little Excel tutorial, and then we're going to go to the other spreadsheet and we're going to fill it out. Okay, so the first thing we need to know when we add up our people from our worksheet is how many total people are in this category. So I'm just going to write total to remind myself that's what I'm doing. I'm going to put some numbers in here, and then we're going to do some calculations here, okay? So then we're just going to, you could, if you wanted to, just copy these, or you could just do initials if you want, just the Control C and then Control V, or you can just, do American Indian, Asian, Black, Hispanic, whatever you want to do, so you know what they are. They don't have Pacific Islander, I already did that, but just in case, I'll put it in. And then you don't have to worry about the minorities combined because that is going to calculate by itself, but we do need an unknown and we do need a white. And then we have our women and we have our men, okay? So right now I don't have numbers because I'm going to show you how to get them, but I'm going to show you how to make the calculations, okay? So this is your Excel tutorial. All right, so let's just go ahead for, just so you can kind of see what we're going to do is if I put a total number here, so in order to find the percentage, right, it's going to be the number of, oops, put Excel, it wants to carry that, should have just been an A. Let me make this bigger for you. Okay, so what it's going to do is you want it to go, you're going to divide, right? Because it's a percentage. You're trying to figure out the total of the percentage of how many are in the total, right? So, so the calculation, you go to the box that you want it, all right? I'm going to just, for the sake of this right now, put 100 in the total. So we'll get the real number in a second, but if it will say divide by 0 and that'll look confusing. So let's say that I know that I'm just going to make this up. So we're going to say that there are 20. That's not realistic. Let me do one that's there's none of them. There's 5 Asian, 5 Hispanic, no Pacific Islander, none of those. Oh, I see something. So this might happen. I'm going to show you how to fix this in a second too. Let's say there's 10 unknown. Oh, I forgot Black. B. We'll just put it there for a second. So there are 40 Black and 60 white. All right, so, okay. See what happened here? It's because this is set to percentage. See that, how that flipped from general to percentage? It's just something that it does out. That must have been because I was playing with this before. And so you can fix it. You can just say number and see it like brought it back to numbers. You can put it on general and then it made it numbers again. And so it kind of messed up though, because it was a percentage and then it transferred the percentage to a number. But so you're going to have to go in and kind of maybe fix it. So I'm just going to leave it general because these are just straight numbers, but I'm going to go ahead and do 6, 6, and 4. Okay. Not 60, 50, 49. I can't do math. I'm trying to get to 100 in my head. All right. So remember, men and women are different. Now remember, we're going to go get the real numbers. So this might be off, but this is how you do the calculation. So we're going to hit the box we want the calculation to go in. Now, if you want to put your own headers, you can do that. Like you can put number, group, percentage if you want, okay? So we're going to hit where we want the calculation to go up to the bar, hit equal. And now this is a really simple calculation. So it is going to be the number we put in divided, so do the slash, by the total. That's the calculation. Now, so you don't have to do this for every single box. If you come in and put the money sign at the beginning of the T and the money sign at the beginning of the 23, it will keep that as the total for all of them. Otherwise, it does that thing. Remember before when I showed you it copied and pasted things down? It will, whatever row you're in, it will change the numbers. It will do that. But this, if you put money signs in, that says, no matter where I am, I want you, Excel, to keep that box. this box, because I didn't do that, is going to change to whatever row or column I'm in, okay? So it's the number that we have divided by the total, okay? So I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to go ahead and this is, I think, where it got messed up before. I need this to be percentages, or I need this to be numbers with decimal points, because that's what I have to put in the chart, okay? So that's 0, so obviously. But so now, because I did this with the monies, what I can do is I'm going to go ahead and pull it down, actually all the way, even to men and women. See this button over here with the arrow down? It's a fill. It says continuous series or pattern in the cells below or sideways or wherever I'm going. I want it to go down, but it has other options. So if you hit down, in this case, down works, it fills them in by itself. See, it did all the math for us. Now this is easy because it's 100. All right, we're going to go get the real numbers in a second. Okay, so this is telling me then the percentages for, what is that? What are those percentages? Okay, so see, if you did percentages, you would see then the numbers, but we need them in so if we hit percentages, they should turn into percentages. So if you hit that percentage button, these are just numbers. These are percentages. Okay. All right. So let's go get the real numbers. So that was just how to make the calculation. So again, we're going to take the number here, divide by the total, put those pretty little money signs in, and then that keeps it so that no matter where I go, here, if I click it, it will show you that that red box will always stay at the total number. Now, again, I'm in a formula. And so when you start to see colors, if you start clicking around, it's going to change the formula. So remember, I don't want to do that. I need to get out of this box, hit escape, and then it goes away. And then that means I can click around and nothing will happen. Okay, so remember, escape is your friend there. Let's go back out a little bit here. All right, so I need to go ahead and snap this over here, and we're going to get this. All right, so what we have to do now, come back to our little chart. So these are all, we need to find the real numbers. So where we're going to go, I'm going to make this big so I can show you first, and then I'll bring it back, is we need to come over here to this tab earlier where I said calculated data. Now this tab it's coming through with formulas. Don't click any of those buttons. What we're going to be doing is using the filters to get some of the underlying data out of here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the row that says, you want to go to the yellow ones, because after all the calculations were done, these appeared. You didn't know that, but these appeared. And so this is the information that we're using to actually create all the charts. So other than the when we do gender, you want to make sure you're over in the yellow tabs, okay? So the first thing we want to do is get to the EEO4 converter. This is all of our groups, right? We only need 2 of the groups. We need to know administrative support and paraprofessional. So then we hit OK. So what that did is now it's only showing those. Now I need to know how many. So I'm just going to highlight. Now, remember, this agency is large. It's a statewide. They're using all the tabs. I mean, so they're pretty big. They're one of our larger agencies. So you probably won't have this many. But if you scroll down, you can see at the bottom, if you're watching, like down where my plus sign is, see it's counting. You don't even have to count. You just got to highlight them all. Now, if it's really long, there's actually a trick you can do. I didn't realize it was going to be this long. If you click on the top box, hit Shift, and then just scroll down to the bottom box, it will highlight it all for you, or you can just scroll like I'm doing. I'll probably do the trick on the other column in a second. Yep, this is a big group. Okay, so we're getting there, I think. Fun. So you're going to highlight, you're just going to scroll down. You're going to keep highlighting until you can get all the people that are in this group. It's counting down. See, we're almost up to 470. A lot of people in this group. I forget how many people are at DOD. That would kind of tell me how close we're getting to the bottom there, because we're in row 1170. There we go, go a little faster. Okay. Should have went super speed earlier. Okay. Woo! DODD, got a lot of people in this group. Most of them are paraprofessionals, so if you see that, or just every now and then getting a little smattering of the admin professional, so, or admin support. This must be their one of their really big job groups. Okay, so it slowed down, so that's how. All right, so we're at the bottom. 1,354. Do you see that? Now, if you click on this, you can't see it because there we go. Okay, the count was copied to the clipboard. So if you really can't remember the number, you could do that. 1,354. So that's what I need to put over here in my chart for the total. That's not your folder. I'm going to close that because that's the wrong one. I don't want to mess up that one. We're on this one. 1,354. Okay, so that's the total I've put in. All right, so now we're going to go back up to the top. We need to know in this group, oh, you know what? That number was so big because I messed up. That's what happened. I forgot that we're only looking at region 6. So whoops, see, Jen messes up too. I forgot, before you do the count, you need to only click on the region you're in. We're only in region 6. I should have caught that because I was like, oh, there's a lot of different counties here. All right, so we're going to start over. Okay, this will be much shorter. All right, region 6, that's all we want, right? So if I'll show you the trick this time. It won't be as bad because it's not everyone. I was wondering why. So if you hit the top box, that's what we want. And it doesn't matter what row you're in, by the way. Top box, and if you scroll down to where you want, you don't even need to hit any buttons right now. Scroll down to the bottom. Whoop, and then went too far. Then if you hit shift and you hit the bottom box, it highlights the whole thing. Jordan showed me that. Okay, that's 400. There's only 400. See right here? 400. All right, so we're going to fix that number. So we're going to bring our sheet back up here. Normally, you know, I think you, like me, we have multiple screens, but I can only show you one screen at a time. 400 people. These are going to be nice percentages because we got a nice round number there. Okay, so now we need to figure out how many people are in those underlying groups. So let's start with, go back up to the top, and what we need to do is go to the ethnic group 7 values. There's a lot of explanation about this, but remember, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we split apart Asian and all that. So we have 7 now. There used to be more, and we added 2 or more. So this is the one you want, okay? So what we're going to do is hit the down arrow. We're going to use a filter again. And so see, they have all these categories. We're going to do one at a time and count them. So we'll start with white, and then we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to click that, scroll to the bottom, going to use our trick, hit shift before you click on anything, then hit the box, 187. So if I go back over to my spreadsheet, I'm going to put in this row, this is where we're putting our numbers, 187. And now it's going to do a calculation. It is telling me we have 47. I'm changing this actually because we need more numbers. So see, I needed, these are rounding up to the whole number, but we're using 2 place decimals. So to add the decimals, I forgot to do this. Click twice, and now we've added decimals. This is, again, see what I'm talking about, why sometimes the rounding. So now I have fixed that. All right, so we have our percentages here. This is our number. All right, we have white. So we're going to just keep going. We're going to go back now to the other one. I'm going to see if I can try to snap these and do it both on the screen. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky. So let's go back up to the top. We had white over here. Now we're going to do black. So see, you just go one at a time, and you can, again, if you click on that, don't touch anything, just scroll to the bottom. Hit shift before you click on anything, hit where you want it to count to. Here's our count, 204. So I'm going to put that over here, 204. Okay. So 51% there. And then we are going to keep going. So whoops, come back up to the top. We have a couple more to do. We have Hispanic, hit OK. Oh, we don't need to count. We can see that one, 4. Come back, do it again. American Indian, but there's 2. I was gonna guess 1. 2 is quite a bit. And then do it again for Asian, 2. We don't have any Pacific Island, but we'll come back and do that. And then our last group is unknown, 1. So we're going to put 1. There was no 2 or more, which we already knew, and we already knew there was no Pacific Islander, but we can go ahead and put zeros in there. Okay, so let's say, Jen, how do I know that that was right? Like, how do I know this is going to add up? So there's a couple ways you can double check this. If you scroll over the numbers that we want, because we know that it's only the ethnicity, this we'll do in a second, it adds it up for you too. So we know that's 400. So not only does it count, it adds. So you can double check 400, 400. I want to make sure this equals 100%. I'm going to scroll over those 100% in the sum. See right there? So I know that I have done this this correctly. It adds up to 400 and this is 100%. Okay, so now we're going to we just got to fill in now our the gender. So let's come back over to our spreadsheet. I'm going to select all of these back because now I want all of the races and ethnicities. Okay, I'm going to come over here to the gray part and find sex. Sometimes I miss it because it's like the smallest column in the world, but it's right here. And we're going to do the same thing. Going to unselect them, pick female first or male, whatever you want. Go ahead and click on that. Scroll to the bottom. Don't hit anything. Just click on that first one. Get all the way to the bottom. Yep, there it is. Before I click, I'm going to hit Shift, hold it down as I click, and I'm going to count 269 for women. 269. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Now, if you wanted to do math, you could subtract that, but you know what? I like it to do it by itself so I can make sure, because sometimes I mess up. So I'm just, even though that's an easy one to just get the difference, I'm just going to make sure, and I'm going to have Excel do it for me. I'm going to hit that top one. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, hold Shift down as I click the last 131. Okay, and we can double check if I hover over those, the sum is 400 and the percentage, whoops, it didn't really matter because there's nothing in that one, but is 100. So now I know. Now I can fill this in, okay? So we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to take these numbers now over here. This is what we're going to put in the boxes above. So we have, forget what the, here we go. So the top one is American Indian. We have 2, so we're going to put the percentage, which is 0.50. We don't actually use the percentage sign in this. Asian is 0.50. His Black, I messed up. Black should have been next, but remember I forgot that one. 51.00. Then we have Native Hawaiian. We didn't use that category. Pacific Islander, we didn't use that. We already, oops, that wasn't the right one. Hispanic. Did you guys catch me on that one? We had 1% Hispanic. We didn't use Pacific Islander. We knew that already, just based on the numbers from the other chart. And we did not have 2 or more. We knew that already. Okay, and then we have some unknowns, so 0.25. And then we have our white, which is 67.25. Uh-oh. I messed up someplace. Let's see. It's probably, no. This is fun. I recorded it and now I've messed up. What did I mess up on? That definitely equaled 400. Did I put them all in right? Unknown is 25%. Yours combined would be 51. All right, so see, this is, so see, that's what these are here, because that is way off. That isn't like these over here where it's some rounding thing, like something got messed up here. It might have been, did I put one? That's a lot, 20. It might be the white. See, all this equaled 100, so I'm not sure what happened. Let me try again. 50, Asian was 0.5, Black was 1, Hispanic was 1. No. That added it up. White was, oh, yep, see? I don't know where I did women, because I had 2 W's. Okay, see? 47. I was looking at the wrong W. There we go. See, that's why it's there, because you can make that little mistake. So I should have put F. That's what I was doing before for female, but see, I put woman there. There we go. So now it was 100. So there we go. We were good. So here's where that other 67.25 goes. And then 32.75, and that equals 100. Okay, so this is how you combined those categories and how you use your impact analysis. If you have questions, you get stuck, we're going to go through this on during our workshops. If you need one-on-one help, please let us know. We definitely want to make sure that you feel prepared as you use this. And remember, the data is just the first step, getting it in here, getting the numbers in. It's really about then doing the analysis on the second part. Where are the biggest deficiencies? Does it make sense? What else is the agency doing? Where are our hiring needs? Look at who's in the region. What are the numbers? Like, does it even make sense we're spending our resources there? Also look for trends, just like we did when we looked at mental health. It looked like, you know, a lot of their just women categories were popping up. So perhaps that's what they work on next year. It's just women, and they're really going to measure that because that's where they can get the biggest impact. Okay. Hey, thanks for listening. If you have any questions, let us know. Remember, you can find these documents at the one-stop shop in the DEI forum. You can find your analysis sheets in your own folders. Those are in your folders. And if you need help, just let us know. Thanks, everybody.